What is going on, everyone? How are you all doing? This is Yix here at Magnet Crypto, back again for another video. So in today's video, as per usual, we'll be doing an end of week market breakdown. We're covering 10 coins, so stick around to make sure you catch all of that. So let's run the intro and get straight to it. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. First of all, of course, we have to cover Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has done very well. Let's have a quick look on the daily. Finally broke out of that short-term counter trend line that I mentioned. I said this is the key trend line that needs to break past before we can say we're back on the uptrend. And behold, it's broken past and it's slowly moving upwards. Now there is some selling at 40k. However, this is just temporary selling before we continue on. If we look at it from the weekly, in my opinion, it actually looks like a perfect correction, and it's basically ready to go on the offense again. And it looks like, and you might be seeing this trend a bit in this market breakdown, it looks like a measured move up. So measured move up basically is when you have one rally, a correction, and a similar rally on the rally after the correction. So you've got the initial 20k towards 40 or 38k, you have that correction, and then on top of that you have another rally of equal magnitude. Now it doesn't always measure like for like. A lot of times it's actually halfway down. So this basically could be the push we need to get to about 48 to 50k. So that's what I'm looking for. Now, of course, before we get too ahead of ourselves, we need to close above that weekly resistance at 38k. So we're just edging past that at 38.6, but we need to just close above that before we can get confirmation and then continue on in the next week. So that's Bitcoin done. Ethereum, similar kind of scenario, except this Fibonacci sequence that I've placed about 2 weeks ago, perhaps maybe more, has been executed to the T. Now you'll see in my private Telegram group, I've put this Fibonacci sequence even in the market breakdowns, and it's hit every level exactly, even the 618 and the 786. Now what I see happening now is, of course, we have a rejection from the top of this extension 786. But there's two potential scenarios that I can see. One is we may be seeing a flagging formation or a wedge, which is like a half-staff pattern that you see before between a rally and its continuation, kind of like a pause. So we may see this over here. Now it's just started, so we've got a little low here, and potentially it could be a flag or a wedge as time goes on, but this could be a small little pause before we continue on going towards $2,000 and potentially beyond. Or we could see if this doesn't hold this low right here at 1600, if it doesn't hold, then we may see a retest of this previous high around 1400 to 1436. So the previous resistance could become support before we continue on. So we'll have to watch out for that. This could be a pause and then carry on, or we could see a retest of the previous resistance, which is fine. It's no big deal because it's going to keep going up. XRP. Now it's been about a week since the pump and dump situation. However, what I'm seeing is still the Elliott wave theory. So of course we had the initial wave 1, and then we had the correction wave 2, and we could still be in a wave 3 push forward. So we could be in that wave 3 still, because it's never going to be a straight wave all the way to the top. It's going to always be a small up, a correction, a small or a big up, correction, and then like this. It's going to be that kind of pattern. Let me see if I can get one of those trend lines. Maybe this one. Yeah, so let's do that again. So it's always going to be something like this, where it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down, and then you have that big correction once again. So that's why I think we could still be in a wave 3 for XRP. It's gone, obviously there's a lot of price action, but in terms of closing, it's only gone down just a little bit. So I want to see how it behaves carrying on in the next week. At the moment, it's still in a wave 3, in my humble opinion. Moving on to Link. So Link, I'm noticing an interesting pattern. Now, as I said, this notion of half-staff pattern basically is what I'm seeing with Link. So you can see here the blue rectangles. During this massive rally, there is a pause in the middle. As you can see, a correction, a bit of side action before going on the extension to the top. And you're seeing that here as well. You're seeing a move up. Of course, this is after all this consolidation, after all this correction. You're seeing a move up, a pause before carrying on. So we could be in that pause right now before continuing on towards $30, towards 40, potentially even 50. Who knows? The only counter that I see to this, the potential of it not being the case, is this red rectangle here, where it did start to break the previous high. However, it did pause before continuing on. So it could potentially be that. Still though, if that is the case, then as you can see here, this could be a small correction before we actually continue on going forward. So like a pre-pause before the actual pause and then going on. So that's not the proper lingo, but you see what I'm talking about right here in these examples. So that's what I'm seeing with Link. Targets for Link for sure is $30 and beyond. $14.50 perhaps. We'll have to see, but $30 definitely is in the cards. Next, we will have a look at Polkadot, one of our personal favorites and one we have high hopes for. So Polkadot is at a very important level. It's just crossing $20. It hasn't closed above it just yet, but there is still people taking profits with Polkadot at this level. If we move over to the daily, now before we had the proper inverse ascending scallop, as you can see here, a nice rounding, a big sell before continuing on. However, in this chart pattern, even though it's somewhat of a rounding formation, it's only ascended just a little bit towards $20. People are still taking profits here. Now this could be a wedge formation, as you can see, between the low and the high. So it might be a small pause again before we go on the offense to actually reach the 618 and the 786 extension level, which is up to $25. This could be a pause before going on. However, this could also be potentially a pause before we actually reach for more liquidity. It could be that the bears are still in control, so it needs to just shake that off, grab some liquidity before going on. Could be that the bears are still applying a lot of selling pressure. So we'll have to see the breakout in the next few days. But of course, for this bull run, we have high hopes for Polkadot. We've likened it to Ethereum's price action in 2017, and most definitely $45, $50, potentially $100 could be reached. So let's keep an eye on that. Next, we'll look at Kava. One of our personal favorites again. Kava is doing very, very well. I've been looking at Kava's price action. I've covered it quite a lot in previous market breakdowns, especially around this area. I mentioned this area, and that's when I put the Fibonacci. I've still left it alone since that time, and it's just hitting level after level. Again, you can see here this push up. It looks like another measured move. As I said, this is becoming a theme for this breakdown, a measured move up. So we have a measured move up here from $1.30 or 25 towards $2.60. And if we place that on top of there, It's just about shy of reaching the full potential of that. Now it is at some selling pressure, so is at some key resistance. You can see here these two wicks exactly touch this level. So this is a key level. However, I think we could have a little bit more left in Kava's tank before it hits this resistance. Perhaps it will get past this before turning around, but now I'm waiting for the next chart pattern to show us what's going to happen next. I think it's almost completed this move, so I want to see what the correction is going to hold next, what the next pattern is going to show us before we can continue on. I still think this chart pattern will be, or this Fibonacci, sorry, will be completed. So it will reach $6, $8.09, and then 13. But at the moment, I'm waiting for what the chart is going to show us next, because it's nearing, or it's hit a key resistance level, and then after that we have some more resistance. So it's going to slow down regardless. So I want to see what the next chart pattern shows us. Next, we'll look at Atom or Cosmos. There is a very important development coming up with Cosmos. I believe it's the Stargate mainnet. The next stage is coming up, so I think it's very, very important coming up for Cosmos. So this will potentially push it even further. On the weekly time frame, of course, we can see it's finally broke out of this somewhat triple bottom, this Adam and Eve triple bottom. You can see here perfectly retested it and carried on going higher. Now we are coming across some sell pressure now, and we'll come in closer to a key level, which is $15. We may start to see some more sell pressure and a correction. At the moment, since this bottom, it's gone up about 185%, so it's due for a bit of a correction before carrying on. On the daily time frame, it doesn't actually look too bad in terms of sell side pressure, so this could just be a small pause before carrying on towards $15. But I've got my eye on $15 in terms of key level. People always look for key levels to start selling, so we are basically about $1 away from there. So I'm going to keep an eye on Atom in terms of future price action. At the moment, we've broken out of that key level with good force. It's been a very good rally, as you can see on the weekly. So now, similar to Kava, I'm waiting for what the next chart pattern is going to form, and what we can see from that chart pattern. So you can actually measure this move from the double or triple bottom, and the reason why I'm saying I want to wait until the next chart pattern is because we actually have gone past the normal measurement for where it would go. So that's why I want to wait and see what the next pattern shows us, because at the moment it's just completed it. But definitely I've got high hopes for Atom and for Cosmos, sorry. I can see $50 being hit and potentially beyond. That would be a nice profit from this point at the moment. Now we have Ocean Protocol. I've been talking about this chart pattern as well in previous breakdowns. This double bottom has been complete. We've broken past the peak in between the two bottoms and now gone on the ascendancy. So that's a very, very good to see it finally doing what it was supposed to do. The thing that we're looking out for next, of course, is to close above this, the previous high set in August of last year. But the targets for Ocean is definitely $1 plus. If we measure this from the bottom to the top and place it on here, so we've just reached the top of that measurement. However, once we close past this point, we may retest it before going on to $1. Another thing that I'm seeing as well, going with the measured move up, is if you actually measure it from here, a massive move from about 7-8 cents towards 61-62 cents. If you count this as a correction between this measured move up and the next one, then you can actually plot this on top of the correction. You could either put it at the peak between the double bottom, or you can put it at the actual trend line. That will take us to about $1. So there's two theories right there. Either way, we're going to reach $1 very soon because it's been correcting for so long. So all this stored energy is waiting to explode to the upside. So keep an eye on Ocean Protocol. It's going to do very well. And of course, price targets for this coin is minimum $5 and then $10, potentially beyond, to see how we're going to see how well it does. Next, we'll look at one of the decentralized exchanges, which is 1inch. I mean, you can never get tired of seeing all this green action right there. If only we could have gotten hold of this early on around these levels, that would have been amazing, of course. So now with 1inch, what I'm seeing is that with this chart pattern, this doji, which is somewhat of a indecisive move, doesn't know whether to go up or whether to go down. I'm seeing that the momentum is still on the side of the bulls. Now we may see a slight correction, but what I want to see to actually confirm that we are going to continue going up is for us to close above $5. So we need to see that key level being broken properly and that closure above $5, and then I think we can continue to go up. If it doesn't close above $5, then we may see a retrace before continuing on. So similar to the other measured moves, we may see a retrace before going on. Now, so far in the month of February, it's really looking like altcoin season. So hence why I think we may see a correction before continuing on. But if we can actually close past $5, then I think we really will start pushing on towards $10 and beyond. So I've got high hopes for a 1inch and the rest of the decentralized exchange market in general, to be fair. Last but not least, we will look at Helium. So Helium, there isn't too much price action to actually look at, but clearly here we can see a beautiful bottoming pattern right here, a strong bottom and a reversal instantly from that level, and then you have these levels, a fairly straightforward counter trend line forming right here, and then you have price forming a nice rounding bottom before breaking to the upside. So it looks quite clear what this chart pattern is showing us. Right now, there is a bit of selling pressure at $4. And at the moment, because it was a very strong breakout, similar to the other ones, I want to see what the next chart pattern is going to show us. It needs to form a chart pattern on the weekly before we can actually decide what's going to happen next. If we look at it on the daily time frame, we are seeing more sell side pressure from that $4 level. People have started to take profits at this level. So we may see a retrace towards the previous high of around $2.46 before continuing on. But as I said, it's not very clear what we're seeing at the moment. There isn't a clear chart pattern that I'm seeing personally to make a proper decisive decision of what direction it's going. Now, of course, as I said, the strong breakout from this chart pattern shows that it may have now run its course and it needs to correct before continuing on. So to close off this video, I do want to say that it definitely is looking like alt season. A lot of the altcoins in different sectors are really blowing up. You've got the DeFi, decentralized exchanges. You've got a lot of coins really exploding during this altcoin season. So the momentum really is on the bulls. It's on the up, it's going upwards. So I wouldn't think too much about shorting anything or thinking to the downside. There will definitely be corrections, as I've shown you. Some of them will maybe correct further. But all in all, I think this month is really going to be a strong month. Even Bitcoin, as you saw, was breaking to the upside. Soon enough, it will carry on breaking past 40k and making new highs. Similar with Ethereum. So if you've got these two major players making these moves, the rest of the market is going to follow with it. As well, the total market cap for the total for the altcoin, is also just about to make new highs. So once we break that level, it's really going to kick on and go further. So I hope you got some value from this video and see you in the next one. Peace.